If you're hungry for crypto exposure and steady income, the BLOX ETF by Nicholas Wealth XFunds is going to be one of the most innovative solutions yet. BLOX blends digital asset equity exposure, crypto ETF holdings, and an options income layer to deliver weekly dividends, all while offering long-term growth potential. So in this video, let's break down why it's generating buzz and how it fits into a modern income portfolio. So this is going to be ticker symbol BLOX, the Nicholas Crypto Income ETF, currently sitting at a price point of $23.37 per share. Now this is a very new ETF and it was launched just last month, June 17, 2025. And since inception, it's done exceptionally well, starting at a price point of around $18, $19, $20 per share, currently at $23, so that's about a 20% gain since inception. It's a pretty good return, and it's had its lows all the way down to the low $19 price range. And it does have about $10 million assets under management, and it's attracted $4.5 million in new investments in the first few weeks of trading. So there's clear evidence of growing appetite for income-oriented crypto ETFs. And there's been some pretty decent trading volume as well. Now this ETF is very unique. Not only does it pay out weekly income, but it does have a growth as well as income-oriented layer on top of it. You're going to have exposure to, of course, Bitcoin as well as Ether. That is going to be done primarily through ETFs. If we take a look at BLOX's holdings, we can see it does have the Ethereum Trust ETF, ETHA, as well as the Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, FBTC, and the VanEck Bitcoin ETF, HODL. And if we take a look at the older holdings, of course, you're going to have all of the related crypto companies. We have Coinbase, Galaxy Digital, Robinhood Markets, Riot Platforms, Mara, Hut 8. Can't forget the semiconductors with NVIDIA and Taiwan Semiconductor. We have Block and, of course, MicroStrategy as some of their holdings. And unlike many income-focused ETFs, this one actually holds the underlying shares that we can see in their holdings. And then it does an options layer on top of the holdings to generate that weekly income. So they're implementing what's known as the 3-sleeved product. First, you're going to have that equity sleeve, which invests in the crypto-related public companies, as we saw earlier, Coinbase, Riot, Galaxy Digital, etc. As well as we have that crypto sleeve, which is going to have those spot ETFs, Bitcoin, as well as Ethereum, providing direct exposure to the assets. And then on top of it, which is going to be the third sleeve, is going to be the option sleeve. That is going to help generate the income. And it's going to employ a mix of put spreads on crypto ETFs, as well as covered calls and put spreads on the equity holdings. And the result is we're going to get weekly income without capping crypto upside. And we can see from the chart, we do have very good growth potential. Now, of course, this fund is very new, only been out for a month, so there's no track record, but we can clearly see that it does have growth potential if the crypto market does well as well. But so far, it's paid out 3 dividends. We can see it's paid out 14 cents for the first 2 weeks of trading, as well as 15 cents, so an increased dividend for the third week. And the main draw to this ETF is going to be the payout frequency, which is going to be weekly. And something that's very unique with this ETF is it's one of 2 weekly ETFs, the other one being MAGY, that actually pays out on a Monday. Now this is going to be very attractive to a lot of people, and it's why there's been a lot of buzz around this ETF, is we want to make Mondays less horrible. BLOX is one of 2 ETFs, the other one being MAGY, the Round Hill Magnificent 7 Covered Call ETF, which also pays out every single Monday. Now, a lot of ETFs do pay out on Friday, but a lot of people are pushing for other dates so they can actually generate income on other days of the week. Now, if we take the current share price and divide it against our dividend from last week, which is actually going to be 0.15, let's clear this, it's going to be 0.15 from the last dividend divided by, we'll multiply it by 52, because it's going to be 52 weeks in a year, and it's going to be about 7.8 annual dividend if it continues with this payout. And we divide that against the current share price, 23.37. We can see it's going to be giving you a dividend yield around low to mid 30%, which is a very good dividend yield, especially for a weekly payer that's also growth oriented, because you mentioned earlier, it does have very good growth focus as well. Going back to the holdings, this is why BLOX, BLOX is gaining lots of attention. First, you're going to have that diversified crypto exposure as well as weekly income in a non-yielding sector, because you're going to be earning premiums even when crypto markets are flat, as well as upside participation. That's the main drawback from many of these covered call ETFs. You're capping your upside, so if some of the underlying holdings absolutely skyrocket, you're going to be missing out with those ETFs. That is not the case with this ETF. You're going to have capital appreciation. The put spreads let you capture crypto rallies without capping gains as strictly as covered calls do. So if you don't already have a crypto ETF, or you're just dipping your toes in with some other crypto ETFs, BLOX is definitely a great choice to check out. I do believe with this strategy, even though it does have great growth potential as well as weekly income with a very high yield, I do think that if we end up in a bear market, this ETF will drop in price pretty significantly. This is going to be, in my opinion, one of the volatile ETFs, but if you believe in crypto, if you think it's going to continue going upwards, or you're just a big believer for the long term, this could be a potentially great ETF to hold for your portfolio. And we also do want to mention the expense ratio, which is just over 1%, 1.03%, which is not unusual for some of these ETFs in this space. ULTY, by comparison, actually has a much higher expense ratio of 1.30%. So this is something to keep in mind. In my opinion, ULTY is a great pair with BLOX simply because they're both weekly payers. They both pay out pretty decent dividend yields. They've been relatively stable, as well as they pay out on different dates. ULTY is going to pay out every single Friday, while BLOX, BLOX, is going to pay out every single Monday. Now, prior to this ETF being released since inception, June 17, 2025, there was only one weekly pair. A lot of people had to buy MAGY, which was the only weekly pair that paid out every single Monday. Now we're seeing more and more options. It's great to see that we have a second option for that Monday. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Monday weekly pairs in the future as investors push for them more and more. Now, of course, BLOX is not risk-free. Every ETF has its downsides. With BLOX, BLOX, you're going to have volatility because crypto and related equities can swing quite sharply. And especially in bear markets, the option strategies might not always offset market declines. Now, the premiums might help mitigate the risk and not drop as sharply, but you're still going to have pretty significant swings, especially in the market if it's tanking. And also, you're going to have a very high expense ratio of 1.03%, which can contribute to some slight NAV erosion, and it's not really something people even think about. And probably the biggest risk with this ETF is it's way too new. It has a small asset under management, only $10 million. Very short track record, only been out for a month as we mentioned, but so far it's performed very well. And for income-seeking investors who understand crypto risk, BLOX offers something rare, which is the growth as well as income in the same package. Normally you have to choose between growth and income. This one has it in both, which is absolutely amazing. Now, where does BLOX fit in a portfolio? BLOX should complement a portfolio and not replace any of your core income ETFs. and it definitely shouldn't replace any high yield income plays such as MSTY and ULTY, and it definitely should not replace your whole crypto portfolio if you still want that direct exposure to Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if you're looking to invest in this ETF, definitely allocate a small percentage of your portfolio to this ETF, and it can help grow your portfolio income because it pays every single week, every Monday, and you can use that income to either reinvest back into the fund or grow your core ETF holdings. Some of the core ETF holdings that are my favorite are actually QQQI, which is going to be the NEO's NASDAQ 100 High Income ETF. Very stable ETF in my opinion, pays out a modest dividend yield of 14%, but it pays out every single month, which is a drawback for many people. Now let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on this ETF. Do you hold any shares of this ETF? Are you planning on buying? BLOX is definitely gaining steam as a sign of investors moving beyond simple crypto products, and it represents a new category in ETF investing. Options income space is becoming its own asset class as its own. And for income investors, this means crypto is no longer just for speculators. It's a source of yield as well.